Hi. It's been a while. Things happened. Now they're not happening. So let's continue the story of Presidente Olmec. In the last episode, the good old Presidente failed to stick to his guns and became a waffler. In his defense, he only wanted to do what was best for his country, but he may have allowed himself to be pressured into a most unfortuitous decision. Clairvoyance on my part, as well as a failed recording ever so long ago, illustrate that there will be consequences for the choices he made. We shall discover those now. Suppose we should do a bit more review first. Let me get back into the game here. Have some press digest. By granting amnesty to the worst men this nation has ever produced, they have signed the death warrant for thousands of the best. Torn apart from within, the land reform program bleeds like the war victim it has become. The dogs of war have still not been chained. They chew on the marrow of the people. In La Pintada, soldiers used the new sign of Cooperative La Rosa for target practice, laughing as they shot it so full of holes it fell in splinters to the ground. The Reconciliation Army continues to operate like two separate fiefdoms that have signed a temporary truce. In those parts of the countryside controlled by the traditional army elements, it acts more like the mercenary band's medieval warlord than a national force. Army spokesmen sharply disputed claims that uniformed personnel engaged in repression of land reform beneficiaries. "We are there to help and protect them," said Colonel Horatio Ehrlich. So, yes, perhaps the Presidente should have stuck to his guns. But he did not. Now we're here, trying to fix Chimerica for our children and for posterity. We have a few more meetings to go before we finish with this season, so let's get to it then. Let's have a chat with, we'll say the Subcommandant and just express some regret. Gabriel Correa Fernandez, Subcommandant in the guerrilla forces and now the army, an active opponent of the dictatorship since his university days. Upon going underground, quickly earned a reputation as one of the ablest of the guerrilla field commanders. Resisted the merger of the two armies until offered the post of Joint Chief of Staff. Presidente, we have agreed to share power in the armed forces with those whose guns were recently trained upon us. This does not mean surrender. Surrender never. But for the forces of liberation to be effective, we must have the clear support of the highest civilian authorities. Indeed. Let's continue to support his shit. We shall be ever vigilant for the revolution, Presidente, and follow the correct path that you have chosen for us. Never will we surrender what we have so dearly gained. So, in the off time, since the last episode was recorded, there were, some expressions, from the ministers of the internet. "Price controls! You're a waffler! Presidente Olmec, you need to go back to tending to your temples." It can't be helped. What's done is done. This is all a point of history now, and you can't change history. True story. Let's visit the rights activist. Let's see what's happening with you. Gloria Mendoza de Lerma. Mothers of the Disappeared. Estimates of the number of students, professors, labor leaders, and other disappeared and murdered Chimericans run to the thousands. I imagine she's not that happy with what's just transpired. Yeah. So, hi. Presidente, the nightmare has returned. Already, 2 of my closest friends among the mothers have been killed. We found Dorotea's body outside the city, at a place they call the Door of the Devil. Her face was beaten in, and the vultures had their fill, but still I could tell it was my friend. In the name of God, please help us. Yeah. I question the need for paramilitary organizations such as Major Padilla's Limpia. If unregulated, such groups become impossible to control and begin to rival the legitimate security forces in power and influence. Perhaps if the military had more control over Limpia, we'd be able to minimize the excesses of recent days. Perhaps we can depend upon our good friend Colonel Ehrlich to, I say good friend. Good joke, Grimith. Good joke. Alright, so maybe that was a stretch. Look. uh, you know, I'm kind of upset. We're doing this. I was thinking of the more moderate thing, but I, I can't help but feel that Presidente Olmec wants to redeem himself for his mistake. As it says in the Bible, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace. Ortiz stiffens and closes her eyes for a moment while she absorbs this news. Very well, we will do our best. Soldiers are now protesting this shit again. And you know what? Fuck you. Colonel Ehrlich can barely contain his fury. Is this how loyal service is repaid, he demands? Bit by bit our prerogatives removed, our authority undermined. First injustice, then humiliation. Now communist hooligans led by this Correa presume to replace me? I will convince the troops to lay down their arms, Presidente, if you say the right word. This mutiny is a desperate effort to return to the ways of dictatorship. We must hold firm. The removal of Ehrlich has been carefully prepared for. Act now, and the reactionary military will no longer be a threat to us. Lose our nerve, and the possibility of military subversion will be with us always. After giving you all... Presidente Olmec gave you the chance to redeem yourselves. But as soon... You took it upon yourselves as carte blanche to go back to the ways of old. This will not stand. And it's worth dying for this. The colonel stands motionless, as if expecting something more. Very well, he finally says. But you are playing with a snake, Excellency. Be careful. If the snake bites you, there is no remedy at the pharmacy. He wheels about sharply and strides away, somehow forgetting to salute you. Commandant Calderon raises his fist in the National Liberation Salute. With this decision, we send the people yet another revolutionary, combative, and profound message of fraternal solidarity. Long live the triumph of the revolution. Message from Gabriel Correa Fernandez, Chief of Staff, Reconciliation Army of Chimerica. After a 24-hour siege, the occupation of the Campo de Julio barracks has been forcibly concluded, with minimal loss of life. The mutineers will go before military tribunals in due course. The direct involvement of former Joint Chief Colonel Horatio Ehrlich in the attempted coup has not been proven. His hasty departure from the country may be taken to indicate at least some degree of participation. Long live the Chimerican Revolution. We had important information there, guys. In the first year of your presidency, the rainy season ends and the harvest season begins. That's actually not how I let that play out. And I changed the future. Cool. I guess the past 3 weeks or whatever gave me time to reflect, even though I didn't even look at this game at all. Sweet. Now that the last of the army reactionaries is gone, all Chimerican can breathe freely again. It is as if a dangerous parasite, long gnawing away at the belly of the state, has finally been removed. Dr. Correa must be congratulated on the success of his surgery. The patient, our motherland, is doing well. Colonel Horatio Ehrlich left the country suddenly yesterday. He has reportedly accepted the position of Professor of Crowd Control in the Panama Canal Zone. In Washington? In Washington, I never heard of that place before. Assistant Secretary of State Rimhild deplored what he described as a purge of the Reconciliation Army. This is a naked power grab, he said. It proves that the National Liberation Party never had any real intention of sharing power to begin with. Not with murderers. You asshat twin Washington. At a press conference here in Panama City, Major Roberto Padilla Pascal denounced the new Chimerican government in the strongest possible terms. He vowed to use all the strength I can muster to remove the communists from power in Chimerica. So how are we doing here? Military expenses due to economic warfare have gone the fuck down. Nice. Social spending is rising, and expenditures for infrastructure are going down. Hooray! Losses from food price subsidies. Food price subsidy prices. They're going up. Infant mortality is decreasing in the United States. It's increasing. Land distribution. The amount of land held by the state is jackknifing considerably. Food crops. Yeah. I don't think the price thingies are really helping in that regard. We have some more coffee production, which is cool. And we're making money on everything, which is also good. Even the cotton. Currency reserves even curved up there a little bit, although the amount that we owe to people is, of course, continuing to rise. We are receiving aid from lots of places. Hooray! Aid. It's awesome. Encounters. The Army Colonel and the Guard Leader are no longer available for us. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Presidente Olmec feels like he has made peace with a very terrible decision on his part. He regrets his moment of weakness there in waffling. And he has resolved himself to do good things. So, what the hell? Let's have a chat with the Cuban consul. Dr. Ricardo Guzman Micola. Economic aid offered by the People's Republic of Cuba consists mainly of medical equipment and training, teachers, and agricultural technology, notably large-scale sugar refineries. Trained as an engineer, also played shortstop in his youth for the Cardenas Sugar Kings. Cardenas, yes. Past postings include Mexico, Venezuela, and several nations in Africa. The first Cuban official in Chimerica after the Farsante period. Under Farsante, there were no relations with Cuba at all. To win a ball game, the consul says wryly, you must practice both your fielding and your batting. I would advise closer attention to your defense needs. If you can possibly avoid incurring the wrath of the United States, more power to you. Both your history and ours, however, cast doubt on the wisdom of putting much faith in that possibility. Yes, indeed. The Cuban Revolution stands ready to coach Chimerica in its efforts to win the right to follow its own destiny. Accept military aid from socialist countries. I think we're going to have to go with no on that one. I was kind of hoping for more socio-economic aid, but thanks for offering. Though we should be thankful for the aid offered us by the socialist nations, it is unfortunate that the quality of goods they send us is not better. Many poorly made Soviet tractors break down almost as soon as they arrive in the fields. They end up rusting away. Our farmers prefer the old John Deeres they've had for years. Continue to accept limited amounts of economic, not military assistance from socialist nations. Indeed, Ignacio, indeed. Good. Done. All power to the revolution, Consul Guzman says, shaking your hand vigorously. Your international friends will support you all the way, but remember, revolution is more than bright banners and proud talk. It is the sweat of hard work, the blood of sacrifice, and the tears of the mothers of those who died defending it. Look to the people, Presidente. Marshal their support, and you cannot fail. The overthrow of the dictator was not our most... Yes, I remember that phrase. So, we have any, like... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I guess I could save in the middle of the video. Sure. Yeah. We have any new news? No new news. Okay. There's no new news. Got it. Let's meet with the shopkeeper. Esmeralda Manzon de Osorio. What do you like, lady? Owner of a licensed market stall at the Western Market? No fuck. Or oh shit. I don't remember what Presidente Olmec called that last month. It's irrelevant. The open air market is the largest marketplace in the country. Something long sold out everywhere will usually still be available here at a price. I think you're going to want me to get rid of those price controls, and I think I might be inclined to agree with you. She stands with her arms akimbo, glaring at you. So now you have long lines outside the shops with food, and many shelves always bare. Why? Why is there so little food for sale? Because at the low prices the government says it doesn't pay for the farmers to grow it anymore. To tell you the truth, Presidente, food is bought and sold all the time, but not at the prices you set. Is this because we sellers are bad people? No. It's because your policies force us to sell at prices higher than the official ones, just to stay in business. The fabled generosity of revolutionaries is catching up with us. We can no longer afford to subsidize our consumers so lavishly. We've been selling corn, beans, and other staples for less than we paid for them, and who has been paying for the trucks to bring these products to market, to dry them, store them, package them, and administer the whole process? We have. We simply cannot afford to do this any longer. I think I will abolish this. Senora Manzon eyes you carefully and chews on her lower lip for a minute. Then she smiles. All right, Presidente, it's a deal. It's time for the poor people to invade my shit. Well, after we talk about getting the pants wet. It's time for the poor people to invade our shit. Ferreira folds his arms across his heavily muscled chest and glares. There's a basic right, which any society should be able to safeguard for its people. I mean the right to eat. Not to eat meat or the fancy foods of the rich, just enough basic food not to be hungry. If you cannot make sure the poor can eat, how can you call this a revolution? Because, you guys who are farmers can choose to grow food for everyone. And then we can all not be hungry. Cool story, right? I mean, I'm giving you all the opportunity to eat here, bro. It's up to you to fulfill the task. If you're saying your constituents are incapable of fulfilling the basic demands of society, well, it says more about you than it does about me, or your constituents, rather. There are times when a leader must stand firm, refusing to be swept away by the hysteria of panicking crowds, or death squads marching upon your shit. We who man the heights of power can see further than the bellowing herd below. We must use this better vision wisely for their benefit as well as ours. Eventually we set market forces free once more, all this commotion will go away. We're sending the army to disperse the demonstrators and keep the streets clean. Ferreira scowls at this taste. Where did you learn to cook up revolutions? He asked darkly. Any decent recipe calls for generous amounts of corn, beans, sugar, and milk. Watch out, Presidente. If you will find your gruel too thin, they may throw it back in your face. Cool story, bro. Blah, 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 lobbying for my interests, blah, blah, blah. At the first sign of difficulty with its price controls, the government threw up its hands and ran screaming for the shelter of father repression. Are these really the same brave revolutionaries who overthrew the dictator and exiled the death squads? All salute the 4 brave volunteers who gave their lives helping the less fortunate compañeros learn to read. Cowards themselves, the guard remnant haunting our hills thinks we must be cowards too. By murdering unarmed literacy workers, they hope to scare the nation into submission once again. Our army must be made strong enough to crush these terrorists. That's right. Those fuckers. Let's have a chat here with this TNC representative. I don't remember where I've done that before. I think I have, but I don't know whether it was a video that was lost or not. Oh well. This man here, Andreas von S. Weiser, is the Vice President for International Marketing of Providential Foods, the U.S. subsidiary of... Oh, shit. Now you're just mixing the languages, Gabe. You can't do this shit to me. I want to pronounce that shit in Spanish. Anyway, the essay. As a transnational corporation headquartered in Zurich and largely controlled by Japanese investors. Fucking melting pot here. For many producers, Providential is the exclusive importer of supplies and sole purchaser of their coffee, cotton, cattle, and bananas. Your arrival is like a breath of fresh air, Excellency, Weiser says with a smile. Those of us who had to deal with Farsante always felt a bit, well, compromised. It was like cutting a deal with the Latin version of the Mafia. We look forward to establishing a mutually beneficial, completely above-board relationship geared to the full optimization of investor-oriented marketing potential. Allow free market principles to govern trade relations. The large export producers already have enough clout to get good terms when they sell to transnational exporters. What about all the small producers, especially of coffee? They don't have enough leverage. We propose an alternative, a voluntary national marketing board to compete with private marketers buying crops at the same floating prices offered to the larger farms. I like the idea of this. I don't think we should have a rampant free market economy here. From what I've learned from Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, it's a bad idea. I mean, you can make money hand over fist, don't get me wrong, but if you aren't prepared to handle the pain train. Weiser closes his briefcase with a snap. Well, I suppose that's it then, he says, masking considerable irritation with a feigned yawn. Whether we have anything more to discuss is entirely up to you. I cannot make my position more clear. You may take it, or we will leave it. We will follow your leadership in this matter with unreserved enthusiasm. And I believe I will be ending this video with unreserved enthusiasm. So, yeah. Presidente Olmec is back, bitches. On a scale from 1 to oh shit, how does that make you all feel?